throws. He lays out and makes the catch.
And we're back for another episode of the Double Switch Podcast. Week 3 is in the books. Might as well have just done nothing over the past 3 weeks because we're right back where we started. We are a game under 500. Hopes are high again. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see that I'm bright red. That is just me being an awesome fan. I want to just make myself all red for the Phils. But no, we had a chance to go see them for the first time this year, and I'm happy we went this week instead of the first week because, you know, it's a whole different environment now. People are starting to get excited again. There's hot streaks from the beginning of the season. They're starting to, continue to carry on, and people are kind of buying into some of the production. And it's exactly what we thought was going to happen. This happens every year, and it's part of the reason we really don't get upset about anything that happens before September for the most part, because it's just that long of a season.
Yeah, it's real hard to put all your emotions into April. I think we've learned that over our whole lives as Phillies fans. I mean, they're an emotional roller coaster, and the roller coaster is fun right now, and it's going to be bad again. But I'm glad we got to go out and see the boys in action. It was a real good game. I guess we'll talk about it a little more. We don't want to skip ahead too far, but good stuff.
Yeah, God bless the Rockies because they are really, really bad.
Yeah.
And they're exactly the team you want to run into when things are going downhill. We take 3 out of 4 from the Rockies. Some might say that, we probably should have swept a team like that, but, we'll take it. Winning series from here on out is kind of the big part. Johnny, kind of what would you see over the past week, these past games, that reasons for encouragement for kind of what's going to continue to come forth throughout the season?
Well, the pitching did look better, and the bullpen settling in. I think those are the big things because last episode we were getting kind of worried about some of the guys, some of our starters and some of our bullpen pieces. They were guys we were talking about with like concern levels. Whether the Rockies really answer those concerns, I don't think so because, I was telling you at the game, it's kind of, for a starting pitcher, this is like a rehab assignment going against the Colorado Rockies. So I'm not going to say that I still think there's concern with pitching, and I don't think dominating the Rockies really fixes that.
Yeah, so you kind of started us off on the bullpen. It's a good point to start because I think we're kind of starting to see here what this bullpen can be. Alvarado, he's a closer now, right? Or is it fair to say that?
Yeah, he's the highest leverage guy we have. So, yeah.
He's not only the best pitcher in the bullpen right now, there's probably a strong argument he's the best pitcher in baseball. On a per inning basis, we're talking about a guy whose ERA is way south of 1, who has he was striking out, what was it, 60% of the batters he's facing?
Yeah, it was like 58%. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he's completely anchored the back end of the rotation. Soto has come into form. He's pretty much what Alvarado was last year. It's kind of weird seeing, 2 lefties throwing gas like that. Kimbrel even had some big outs. I know you're probably not fully on board yet with the Kimbrel thing. And Sir Anthony he's showing glimpses of the Sir Anthony we know. Fortunately, the depth's, a little worse than it used to be. Bilatti's on the IL. It's probably our own fault because we kind of abused him the first 2 weeks.
We did.
But, it's to be expected. That's kind of just what happens. The bullpen, it's making me feel better about some of the shortcomings in the rotation. If the bullpen and the rotation were kind of in shambles, I would not be feeling too good. But knowing that once you get to the bullpen, it's pretty safe to assume that they're going to find a way to get it done. Makes me feel a little more relief when it comes to really Nola and Wheeler. Both of them, they're kind of doing the same thing. It's weird because you see the pitcher that you've come to know them as in there. You see it. But they both have these innings where they just stuff starts to go bad. Nola, obviously, the first inning against the Rockies on Friday, gets a few runners on, and then he gives up the bomb to McMahon, and that's a huge hole to put your team in. And if you get out of that inning, it changes everything about the game. We eventually went on to win, but you don't want to be working from behind like that. And if he can kind of control that, it changes the dynamic. And Wheeler too. We saw it firsthand when he hit. I'm not even going to try to guess what the Rockies player's name was. I don't know. It was some random Rockies player with the bases loaded. Drove in a run that way. That's not Zack Wheeler that we know. That's not it's just not that guy. He usually didn't unravel like that, and they're kind of both doing that the same way this year. Fortunately, I think it's something that they can correct, but it's just weird to see them both be matching each other's temperament out there in terms of how they control the game. Are you concerned at all about those two, or are you kind of feeling better because they both settled down and pitched really good games? Then again, it is the Rockies. I feel like this whole podcast is just an asterisk because it's the Rockies, but they both looked pretty good after the damage was done.
It's good to see them stop the bleeding. I mean, that's especially Nola. I think we've seen time and time again him. Once he starts bleeding, man, he just bleeds out to death, and then the bullpen has to come pick up the pieces, and it's usually a throwaway game. But I was worried when he let up those runs in his start against the Rockies, but he got some momentum going, and that's how I feel about Wheeler and Nola. They're guys that just need to get that momentum going and start trusting all their pitches, and neither of them seem like they're at that point. They're trying to be very perfect with everything. That could be an early season type of thing, and the weather's getting warmer. Pitchers tend to throw a little harder. Balls tend to get hit a little harder once summer comes around. So not overly panicked, but
the two things I am worried about, starting with Nola, strikeouts aren't there. Usually no matter what kind of version of Aaron Nola you get the strikeouts. They're always there. I think he's 21 and 28 innings, which is really bad for Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
You need him to have that element of his game. Because if you start getting into those innings where things are unraveling and he doesn't have the strikeout ability, it makes it all the harder to thread the needle there. And Wheeler, so I can't decide how worried I am. I'm kind of just exhausted of thinking about this. I wish I didn't have to worry about it at all.
yeah,
but
that's the truth.
The velocity, it's become like a thing that all of Phillies Nation is obsessed with. As soon as he gives up a hit, everybody points to the velocity. It's always the velocity with Wheeler. I'm a little less worried about it now because I think, like yesterday, we saw it firsthand. He can still be a very effective pitcher using his secondary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it is weird. It's just weird that it hasn't really come back. I don't know if we should temper expectations and kind of think of him as more a 94, 95 type guy. Or if it's just, him controlling kind of how he uses his arm. He's might be doing the, the thing where you kind of, you don't give it your all in the first inning. You pace yourself throughout the game. A lot of pitchers do that, and it's a good strategy if you can kind of maneuver that way. But it is something that I'm tired of the whole velocity thing, and I don't want it to really be a topic anymore. I wish we could just
I
move
know,
on, but we can't.
No one wants it to be, but I got a question for you. I mean, if Zack Wheeler's at 94, 95 with his fastball, how different is he than Aaron Nola?
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. I find myself supporting Aaron Nola a lot because I really think that Aaron Nola can work with less velocity more effectively. I trust his ability to work with that diminished stuff because he's never really been that dominant of a pitcher. It's part of the reason I think Nola is going to age particularly well. Those guys that rely on movement and kind of feel instead of just pure velocity, it's easier. It's easier on the arm. It's more it's a little more crafty. And, you see older guys like just Wainwright, for example, they don't throw gas. They're crafty pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Nola is crafty and he can kind of work with 91, 92. But Wheeler, he can probably do it eventually, but he's going to have to learn how to do it where Nola already knows how to do it. So I do think that if you're kind of projecting how they're going to be with that diminished velocity, I think I trust Nola to do it better, which is why Wheeler. That's why we're so worried right now. We don't know if he can do it.
Yeah, I think we're exhausting the whole pitching thing. What do you think about the bats this weekend?
You see, the thing about the bats is they're kind of speaking for themselves. You know,
Hmm.
I don't think there's much to critique here because everybody's kind of doing what they're supposed to. You know, it starts with the young guys, and every week we get on here and we're just pleased. There's
Yeah,
nothing else we can say because we're pleased with how they've been so far. There's no complaints from me.
yeah. I think me and you at least we like to enjoy the success while they're having it. But it is worth mentioning. Like, can Stott and Marsh keep this up? Like, can they have this sort of trajectory this year? Can they be these type of players consistently?
All right, so are you going to throw Bohm in there too? Do you want to talk about Bohm too, or is he a different category at this point?
Well, Bohm kind of
Is who
proved
he is.
himself
Yeah.
more last year than the other two have. So I think Marsh and Stott are the guys that are proving themselves this year.
So Stott, I have a little more faith in his ability to keep doing what he's doing, because what he's doing is pretty believable. Even when he was drafted, they kind of thought that he could hit for a pretty good average, spread the ball around, and it's exactly what he's been doing. Marsh, on the other hand, we knew that he had the tools to be a really good batter. But what he's doing right now, it's kind of hard to believe because he's crushing both sides of the plate. The power is very pronounced right now. I think he leads the league in triples. He's got 4 home runs, OPS north of, I think it's 1,200, which is
Yeah, it
insane.
is.
You and I both don't expect that. No one should expect that from anybody. It's superhuman type stuff. People aren't really going to look at this, but the K rate's still pretty high, right around 30%, which is always going to be a factor for any type of player when it comes to average. You can kind of expect the average to trickle down
Mhm.
if you're kind of striking out at that rate. So I don't know if I necessarily believe in the average being north of 300. I think he's probably 260, 270. Precisely what you said, I think it was last year. Charlie Blackmon in his prime, really. 260, 270, and 25 to 30 homers. Why not? But I don't expect him to lead the league in OPS. I think it's more likely Stott leads the league in hits than Brandon Marsh leads the league in OPS. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think what Stott's doing is more in the framework of his type of player. I love what Marsh is doing, but at the end of the day, you're right. I wrote a little piece on him, and the two biggest things that stuck out to me were his strikeout rate, which is an extremely high for uh, really anyone, any starting player, and then his batting average with balls in play, which was really incredible. So, I mean, those two correlate with each other. So if he can cut down on strikeouts and put the ball in play more this season, then maybe keep this sort of thing up. But it all starts with strikeouts.
Yeah, definitely. But we forget that he was really a top prospect, and people thought that he
Hmm.
could really be something at one point. And if he came up and did this after, before he had that big chunk of time where he was terrible for the Angels, if he just came up right away and did this, it would kind of make sense because that's kind of what we thought he could be. It's also worth mentioning that sucks for Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah,
That's a shame. I feel
what
bad
was
for the guy.
looking like one of the best win-win trades of what I thought was going to be one of the best win-wins of the decade. Probably still will be because I think they're both going to have great careers. That sucks. Torn labrum, probably out for the year. Um, I did watch that video. He was devastated.
It's a shame.
Yeah, no. Wishing a quick recovery. You never want to see that, especially to a guy we paid so much attention to, and me and you both love. Sucks.
Well said. But yeah, no, Brandon Marsh. I would I would tend to advise you to buy stock now. I do think he's really good, and
Hmm.
K Long has kind of accumulated a really really strong portfolio of hitters whose careers he kind of turned around. One day we're going to really look back at what he's done, and how people performed You mentioned it the other day when you were talking to me. Juan Soto,
Yeah.
you just don't really know the impact until you can kind of step back and look at his career as a whole. He's working miracles with some of these kids. That's not fair to them. They're very good hitters anyway, but he's getting the most out of them, helping them reach their potential. And another guy who he's kind of helping revive is Nick Castellanos back.
I think he's back. He's a doubles machine, and I love it.
Doubles machine, first 2 home runs, and probably most importantly is I can't think of the word here. Kind of what he's the mojo. The mojo's back.
Yeah, it is. That's the word.
That's precisely the word. When he was at his best, he kind of went out there and he acted like he was the best. Not in an arrogant way, but yeah, he has an edge to him. And it kind of looks like the edge is back just by the way he's talking, by the way he's approaching at bats. It's really, really encouraging so far. I would like to see him continue to poke the ball out of the park a little bit more. Hopefully towards like that 30 homer mark where he hit before he got here. That'd be nice, but all of it's encouraging compared to last year.
Yeah, if he can produce doubles at this rate, we have plenty of guys that can hit out of the ballpark, and they will hit out of the ballpark once these hot months get going. Doubles will be enough from him, and it seems like like honestly, in some of these press conferences, he seems like a whole different player. Maybe last year it was a whirlwind moving to Philly and change of scenery, but he seems comfortable. A lot of the guys that we acquired last year seem a lot more comfortable in the clubhouse now.
Yeah, it's worth noting, and I'm sure I'm going to get pushback, and everybody's going to call me a nerd here. His batted ball contact doesn't really look that good. His expected stats aren't really that good, but it's not an end all be all. It's just it's worth noting that he's not hitting the ball as hard as he used to, and I don't know why, but it's fine if he can find a way to get his production. Just don't question it. As far as I'm concerned.
Contribute. I mean, we have enough guys on this team where he doesn't have to have the best exit velocity in the league or anything like that,
Yep. Schwarbs, JT, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm. Nothing really to say about them. They're kind of just doing all the things that we need them to do. And then, I guess we should kind of hit on Bryce. By the way they keep talking, makes me kind of feel like he's just going to be back any day now, because I haven't never seen a rehab process be as aggressively pushed up as this one has. It feels like every week we hear about how he's going to be back a week earlier than they told us last week. And I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we think we know the human body and we think we understand science, but how is this going so well? Is it going so well, or is it just wishful thinking? How should I be thinking about this?
Well, you should be thinking that Bryce Harper is from a different galaxy and he's an alien, and then we should be rational. And he is going on the road trip to LA. I think it's next weekend, and they said that his doctor's out there, and they're going to see if he can get cleared. And then once that happens, they said he doesn't want to do a rehab assignment. So like maybe a couple simulated games, pregame, maybe face some of the starting rotation a couple times. And then, I don't know, throw him in, start sprinkling him into the lineup. How do you even do that?
I get the no rehab assignment because last year we made him do a rehab assignment and he went like 6 for 8 with like 4 bombs, and it was just a waste of everybody's time.
It doesn't make sense for him.
Yeah, so I get that part of it, but man, like you really don't want to put the terminology Tommy John surgery and early recovery together. You generally don't want to rush it, and it's weird thinking about this from a positional player's point of view because we usually think of pitchers like this. So it's weird. It's taken some getting used to. But From my understanding, he could probably hit major league pitching right now. It's just a matter of every other part of the game. I hear sliding is a big problem.
It's the biggest concern.
Yeah, I
He's
don't
got
really
that
understand.
brace. He's wearing that brace, that massive brace on it.
Yeah, how would his arm get messed up sliding if you're
I
sliding
think
feet
something could
first?
rupture if awkward movements happen with like sliding, um,
That's true.
dislocations and like those type of things.
Yeah,
Obviously ligaments are all when you dislocate something, the ligaments are right next to all that. So
yeah, they should probably just tell him not to slide for the first several weeks he's back. I mean, if it's just not worth Bryce Harper beating out a double.
no.
Like just don't slide. Like we'll take the out or whatever it is.
Yeah, we'd rather have him on the
Obviously,
field.
yeah, it's easier to once you get in the game, it's really kind of hard to make baseball players do certain things. But no, I hope that this is going as well as they say it is, and I just be careful. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful because you really don't want to start over. That's what you don't want to do.
No, and I think it is. I kind of agree. I think we have a talented enough team to get ourselves above 500 and more. I think we can get a nice. We're a winning ball club without Bryce Harper. Um,
It's just not worth the risk. Like it's not like it's a dire situation where the season's about to fall apart. We just want to tread water while he's gone, and I mean, as of today, that's exactly what we're doing. We are 11
yeah,
and 12, and it's a perfect spot because the cavalry's coming. Bryce Harper is coming. Ranger Suarez is coming. Just relief is on the way for
yeah,
both the pitching side and the hitting side. But no, it's a good time. It's good vibes again. It's nice seeing a sold out crowd at Citizens Bank Park.
yeah,
Hope that
44,000.
I hope that kind of maintains throughout the summer, and I think it will because it's encouraging what we're seeing so far, and there's a lot of big names there that people are going to want to go see. So let's keep that energy going.
Yeah, you know what? The
Got
front
anything?
office did a great job investing in this team, and I think people recognize that. That's how Philly works. You do it, and you show the fans, and they'll show up. And they're
Yeah,
doing that.
they're putting in the effort to put a good product on the field, and we should reward them because it's a really good team, and we are very lucky, especially when you talk about some of the other fan bases out there that between owners not spending and even losing your team to another city, we got it good here with the Phils and John Middleton.
Sorry, A's fans.
Yeah, I
If
didn't want
there's
to.
any of you,
I didn't want to rub it in, but I'd be so heartbroken if my baseball team left Philly. I can only imagine what they're going through.
yeah, that I can't really imagine that one. And they've been teased for 20 years, but we don't need to get into that. But that sucks.
It sucks. Back to the Phils, though. You got anything else before we get out of here? This should be a quick one because
Yeah, I
status
think just
quo.
looking ahead to the Mariners, we got I believe Taiwan Walker, Strom, and I'm not sure who else, but I think we can. I think we need to thump them.
Nola, right?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Wait, Mariners, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they're a good
Yep.
team.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're a good offense. We're a good offense. Both have pitching concerns. I think it's going to be a shootout.
For sure. And with the rest of the NL East kind of scuffling here, I think we're the only ones to win on Sunday. So it's a good time to play some catch up. The Braves are, they're not going to let up. So we're going to have to capitalize on every opportunity we get and kind of see where we end up when everything settles. So as always, thank you guys for listening. If you are a Sixers fan, when did they play again?
They don't know yet because they're waiting for the end of the Hawks Celtics series.
Great.
Celtics are going to win. It'll probably be later this week.
Oh, wait. So do they have to face the Celtics?
They do.
Man,
that'll be a good one though. It's good for morale in the city if we can beat Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're a big Sixers fan, go get Pick Swap Media a listen. All kinds of good stuff to kind of make up for the downtime between now and then.
Yeah, those guys are killing it with content right now. Definitely go check out the Pick Swap Pod and get yourself ready for the Sixers playoff run.
Absolutely. Well said. But as always, thank you guys for listening. We will talk to you next week.
Go Phils.